Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm coming up to 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline and scale their business. The greatest thing I've built, though, is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 70 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned, bring amazing speakers to share their story, and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you.
Is Brunch Club Day for me, and that means that I have just finished setting up our event. We have Sasha Eburne as our speaker today, and we are set up at 360 in Labrador. This is our beautiful venue. It is right across from the water on the Broadwater and the Gold Coast, which is a stunning place to be for a Friday. So I will introduce our speaker a little bit later, and you'll get to hear what she has to say.
Changing my life because of the price of
Welcome everybody, thank you for joining me today. We are almost at 8 years of the Brunch Club, which is insane. Very exciting though, and we have a couple of fun things today. So the first one is obviously this beautiful thing behind me that you can see. We have been sponsored by the beautiful Bridget, who is in the polka dots. You'll be able to have a chat with her. And there is this beautiful thing that's going to happen. We're actually going to do a little pour a little bit later, so you'll be able to see that. We're just waiting on our Prosecco bottles to come out. And then also we've got a gift voucher that has been generously donated as well, which is worth over $400. So one of you are going to get the opportunity to have your own fancy champagne tower. Just because, or because you have a celebration or something like that, like Tuesday at anybody's house, I'm free. I'm so there, which is really beautiful. But also, Bridget does this beautiful thing. So the business is called Champagne Towers by Rosa Bubbles, and she does donate $50 from every tower goes to supporting children in Nepal who wouldn't otherwise get education. And I think it's called Care for All Nepal. Thank you. I was like, I'm going to forget that one, but we got there. So that is fabulous. She's right there if you want to chat to her a little bit later about having some fun event things at your event. We also have beautiful Sasha here to speak with us 3 weeks before she brings another human into the world. She made it to today, so now you get to relax. So thank you very much for overcommitting in my books. But you got there, so that's great. The Brunch Club was started 8 years ago after I had started my business and spent some time working from home on my own. I went from busy panel shops and a job in finance where I was in an office of 50 and phones went all day and there was people in and out and all of that sort of stuff, to my 4 walls and my dog who snored. Very beautiful, very loud. Not much conversation. So I went to some networking events to meet people who are like me in business, because I had lots of employee friends who kind of just didn't get that part. And I went to all of these events. I met so many people. I had fists full of business cards, but I connected with zero. I felt really icky. I needed a shower. I felt like if I was feeling that way, like other people would too. So I decided to start my own thing. And it was going to be on a Friday, we could have a glass of bubbles. I didn't imagine this, but that's pretty fun. And connect with other people. No sales pitches, no business cards, wonderful speakers. And just the worst thing that could happen for me was going to be that I ended up having a glass of wine with my mum on a Friday. She used to come to all of them, but now she's got my twins. So, sorry, Mum. But people turned up and they keep turning up, so we keep doing this. So thank you for being part of it. I know that there's so many events available now, which are amazing. Sasha runs one in Brizzy called We Rise, which is wonderful as well. There's several of us that have been there and spoken, and also the International Women's Day. So fun. So today we've got drinks coming out. I will find out where they are in just a minute, and we'll do this beautiful pour, and then your meals and your tea and coffee. In front of you, you have a silver card, and that card has a question on it. There is an exercise which I'll take you through a little bit later, but have a look at your question, unless you like a surprise and want to come up with something on the spot. Have a look at your question. You also have a raffle ticket. So there are 2 lucky door prizes today, the one from me and the one from Bridget as well. So thank you for coming to the Brunch Club. Enjoy your day. Everything will be out really shortly. Enough to eat, and you have your drinks in front of you. I'm going to get us started on this silver card activity. And even though we've all been connecting and sharing many stories and having a giggle at many things, we're going to do this intentionally. So what I would like you to do is introduce yourself. So hello, my name is Lauren. My business is in Powerhouse. I am a small business specialist. I do systems. I just build systems for businesses to help them not be busy doing things that they don't have to do all the time, and simplify and scale and all of that beautiful stuff. Just automate the shit out of your business is pretty much what I do. I also hold networking events. My question is, would you rather be the funniest or be the smartest person in the room? Anybody that knows me knows that I don't really suffer fools, so I'm definitely going to go for the funniest. And I don't think I need to elaborate on that any further. So what we're going to do is just start at one end of the table, work our way around, and try to just listen to the person speaking. So everyone gets a fair chance. Yeah? Beautiful. Okay, darlings, I'm going to get you to turn your chairs so you don't strain your beautiful necks while Sasha is speaking. So if you just want to turn your chairs around so you can see me with ease. Thank you. All right. Sasha Eburne is a business and mindset mentor for coaches and online entrepreneurs who are ready to move from consistent 5-figure months into 6-figure growth. She works with women who no longer want more noise but sharper strategies, stronger leadership, and a business model that scales without burnout or unnecessary complexity. Through CEO-level coaching and clear frameworks, Sasha supports her clients to simplify and position themselves powerfully and grow with intention, creating sustainable success and real freedom as a result. Please welcome Sasha as she shares her keynote saying no to the status quo and building life on your terms.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm really grateful and honoured to be here. I think we were just talking about the first Brunch Club event that I went to, which was back in 2022 when Anami was speaking. And it was my first experience of the Brunch Club. And when Anami was up there, I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to speak at a Brunch Club one day. And here we are. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm really grateful to be here. So as you probably know, as Lauren said, I am pregnant and very soon having a baby. So I will have my notes, because those that have had babies know how hard it is to remember everything that we need to talk about. And I want to make sure that you get the value that I want to bring for you today. So I'll start with a little bit of a story, and then we'll go into really how you can take what I have done in my life and adapt it to yours. And that's really where I want you to take today. All the stories that I share with you today, I want you to think, what would I have done in that situation? And really apply it back to yourself. So 80% of women stay stuck between who they are and who the world expects them to be. I'll say that again because I think it's a really, really powerful quote. 80% of women say that they feel stuck between the women who they are and who the world expects them to be. And today is about closing that gap for you all. If I had accepted no the first time that I had heard it, I wouldn't be standing here today. So if it's all right with you, I'd love to share a little bit about my story and how I got here. So most of us spend our whole lives following a script that we never actually agreed to. So what are we taught as we're growing up? Go to school, get a degree, meet the man of our dreams, have kids, settle down, retire. Does that sound interesting to everyone? Really? It's kind of that path that's kind of already written for us before we actually decide. And I think that's what it is about. It's about an intentional decision to create the life that you want rather than what somebody else wants. So I'll take you way back. Now, I always thought that I was kind of like a coaster through life, but the more and more deep diving, I've remembered who I actually am. And I've always been that person that's really challenged the status quo and haven't really followed the norm that society tells you that you need to do. So the very first time that I probably disrupted things that most people wouldn't normally do was I left school halfway through year 11. And back in, I can't remember if it was the 90s or the 2000s, that was kind of not the thing that you do. You're always supposed to finish school. You're supposed to go to university. It's how life is supposed to be. But what I found was after going, we were talking about it over here, lots of different schools, been to 3 primary schools, 3 high schools, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And let's be honest, what 17-year-old knows exactly how they're going to spend their life? Not many. It's a lot of pressure for a 17-year-old. And I was actually told back then that I wasn't allowed to change my subjects anymore. So I was very restricted to what I could do. These days I know that they're a lot more flexible in schools, but they just said, no, that's it. You're locked in. So I was quite lucky. My mum was quite open. She had a very different life and a different childhood. And she's just like, well, you don't have to finish. We can look and explore other options. So I was really grateful that we could explore other options. And she told me about one of her cousins that was working in a hotel in London. And I'm like, sounds pretty cool. She goes, you meet famous people and you get big tips. And I'm like, let's do that. So I left halfway through year 11 and I went to TAFE and I did a certificate 3 in hospitality, and that actually gave me all of the credits to go into a double diploma. So at the same time everybody else that I knew was finishing year 12, I'd already had 2 diplomas, one in events management and one in hospitality management. So I felt like I was already a little bit ahead. So then I went on to start my 25-year hotel career. And I moved out of home at the ripe age of 17, and I went to live on site in a resort up in the Gold Coast hinterland. You might know it as O'Reilly's, so very much moved up there. And that was kind of the first decision of saying no to what society would say, and then I got to have this incredible life in hotels traveling around. A little bit further along in my journey, I decided it's time to go and live overseas. I'd always envied all my friends that had had a gap year. I'd traveled a little bit with my family, and I really wanted to go and live and work overseas. And it was quite interesting. I'd had a lot of different relationships early on in my childhood and early adulthood, and I was always told, never stay in one spot because of a man. And I was just like, it was always that thing. It was just like, is he someone that I would like stick around for? And I'm like, no. So I decided that I was going to go work for the airlines, and that was just like, what better way to go and see the world? I flew from Melbourne to Sydney to go to the interview. It was quite a unique experience. And they were really impressed by my resume. Like, I'd worked in hotels for many, many years in management roles. That's actually how Anime and I met back in 2008, working in hotels together, and a long time ago. And they said no because I have a tattoo, and it was a visible tattoo. So very much, back then, I think they're a little bit more open now, but going to work in the Emirates, no tattoos, no visible. So at that point, I was just like, well, I'm not going to take no for an answer. I want to go and live and work overseas. So do you know what I did? I went home, I sold everything that I owned, packed up, I moved back in with the family. Every day for 30 days, I applied for jobs. Thailand, Bali, London, and anywhere in the United Arab Emirates, because I was fascinated by their culture, and that's why I was attracted to work for Emirates. So on day 30, I had an interview with a hotel in Abu Dhabi, and they said, yep, you've got the job, jump on a plane. So jumped on a plane to a country that I'd never ever stepped foot in. One bag, that's all that I was allowed. And I went and had a really great experience living in the Middle East, working in hotels. From the Middle East, I went to Vanuatu and worked there and ran a resort there and did all the weddings and events there, and then decided to come back to Australia. A lot of my friends were having babies, my dad wasn't too well, so it was just like time to come back and put some roots down. Escaped a cyclone by about 3 weeks as well that came through there. And then I was kind of hitting that ripe age of 30. And I kind of had always said that if I hadn't met the right man, I was going to go and have a child on my own. So I went to see a fertility specialist thinking that he would tell me, don't worry, you've got plenty of time. And actually it was a complete opposite story. He was just like, you might never be able to have children. And I remember it was like yesterday, you know, the clinical lights in the office, it was just like ringing in my ears, and I was devastated. So I said, okay, well, what are my options? So rather than sitting there falling in a heap, taking no for an answer, I was like, what can I do? And I'd kind of heard a little bit about women having kids on their own. So I was just like, well, I haven't met the right guy. I'm going to take a long time to date to then find the right guy to have one with. So he said, well, we can't do, he found some medical problems. And he said, we can't do insemination. So you're going to need to choose a donor and do IVF. So again, I was like, okay, let's try it. Let's be honest, I was probably really naive, didn't really understand the process. We started it, and it wasn't really getting the results. So anyone that's gone through IVF, it's quite a long journey to, you know, make sure you're taking the right dose of medication, making sure that you're getting what you need. And they suggested that I cancel their cycle. They're like, we're not getting the results that we need. We'll cancel and start again. I said, but it only takes one, doesn't it? Like, so naive. Luckily, I said no, because I conceived first go. So my daughter, she's about 7 now, but if I had said no, luckily she wouldn't have been here, because I was just like, it's only one. So very much a glass half full kind of person. I need my notes. Then, moving forward to COVID, which I'm sure a lot of us in the room were very much affected by, I'd been working in hotels for 25 years. Very long career. And then the global pandemic happens, and we were probably the most hit in all of the country. I was working in a hotel here in Surfers Paradise, and we were the first hotel that actually entered the quarantine program. No job. I'd only actually just gone back 3 months after maternity leave as well. And I was just like, what am I going to do? So I just started being open. What else can I do? Where else can I work? And just tried to keep money, like most of us, trying to do whatever we wanted to. And then I thought I'd go and try my luck in real estate, and found out that that wasn't where my people were. And I tried a few little side hustles during the pandemic as well. One of them was Body Shop at Home. I'm sure you're probably all familiar with the brand. I was doing facial parties online via Zoom while everybody was at home drinking wine. And one of my ex-colleagues, she'd been made redundant twice in 2 years. I went and met with her outside of a coffee shop in Broadbeach and gave her her Body Shop at Home. Now, this was when you couldn't even sit inside the cafe, you had to get your takeaway coffee. And I said to her, what are you doing these days? And she's just like, I run my own virtual assistant business and I earn more in 3 days of working than I did 5 days in the hotel industry. And I always kind of felt like I was an entrepreneur in an employee's body. I kind of always tried lots of things, but I also moved from job to job because I was always looking for something that was never there. I was like, well, this is boring, I'll go to another hotel and it'll be better, and it just never was. So I watched the space for about 6 months. I didn't jump. In hindsight, I should have just jumped. So one day I was working in the real estate agent, doing exactly the same task all day, every day for 5 days. Not fun. I don't think they liked me very much. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to start. And I just made an intentional decision just to try it. Within 24 hours, I had my first client. I quit that job within my first 7 days. And then I was fully booked within three weeks. Best decision I'd ever made. And I was working from home. So no more long drives to drop off. No more, if you're 1 minute late, you get charged like $20. What is that? And it soon snowballed after that. And I didn't really think that it would get as big as it did, but it got really big really quickly. So within 6 weeks, I'd surpassed my corporate income of my hotel job. Within 6 months, we grew to a team of 15 around the country, servicing lots of different clients. Is that better? And what I'd realized was I'd stumbled across something that was very different and unique. And rather than wanting to sit there and grow this into a big business where we service lots of different businesses whilst it was fun, was I actually wanted to share the opportunity with other women. So I didn't know back then what a business coach was. I'd never even heard of a business coach, but I started connecting with other women and actually showing them that they could create a business on their own terms. As women, a lot of us crave time freedom, money freedom, location freedom. And I wanted to share that with them. So I started teaching other women how to start their own business. And that was only 4 months into my business. I ran that business, we still run it today, but I grew that to multi-six figures in under 2 years. And then I really decided that my love and my passion was to support women to create a me first life. And really all about challenging that status quo. Really about saying no that are things that are aligned for them. Choosing themselves over everybody else and leading with integrity and with alignment. So 6 years down the track, I support women, like Lauren said, support women to scale their businesses beyond themselves. But it's really about not just creating wealth or not just creating impact. It goes so much more. Because no isn't a rejection, it's a commitment to self. And we were talking about it over here in terms of, a lot of women give everything to their family. They put their family first, they put their husband first, and then they get to a little bit wiser age and they're like, where am I? Who am I? And I think it's really important for us to learn from other women that have gone through this and actually make intentional decisions about who are we inside and who do we want to be. And then we can tap into all of those things that we've ever been told over the years. They say that the imprinting age for a child is between 0 and 7 years old. And what we're taught during those years is what we grow up to believe. And we're coasting through life with all these limiting beliefs. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for your money. This is just how life is, or life is hard. Any of those things. And the work that I do is to encourage women to actually just sit with all of those beliefs that you have been told. Are they your belief or somebody else's belief? And what do you actually believe? Because that's where the work is. And I think that there's no age. Once you start realizing this and you can start seeing this for yourself, you can change your life. You can change how you live it. You can change who shows up in it. And you can lead with intention. And I think it's really important because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just too old. I can't start again. But that's what somebody has told them. So I always encourage women to justify any of the thoughts that come into your mind with logic. To be like, well, does money grow on trees? Well, like, actually it does. They print money at the mint every single day. Like, you don't have to work hard for your money. Like, the entrepreneurs amongst us probably have more freedom than we had in a 9-to-5. Anime can attest to this. In the hotel industry, we had what's called love time. It was written into our contract. You are required to do a reasonable amount of overtime. Like, if you take that overtime and your salary and work it out, your rate is diluted. Like, it's not a lot of money. And then you're bound to time, you're bound to go into the office. The other thing is, you're in an office with unaligned people. The fact that I'd say most of us in the room are business owners, we chose to be here. We intentionally chose to surround ourselves with other amazing powerhouse women. And that's why we've all chosen to be here today. Like, it is a gift that we get to choose with intention to be here. You're not forced to be here. You didn't get told you have to go here and I paid for a ticket and you go. It was a choice. And a lot of women I hear still to this day, they say, oh, I have to make the sacrifice to put myself first. Do you think that I sacrificed my daughter to come here today? No, she's having fun. She's doing pajama day at vacation care. A lot of other women would have the guilt, the mum guilt of dropping them off and being like, I'm leaving them to put myself first. But the more we lead with intention and choice, the more we realize that actually everything I actually do is for her, as well as myself. But don't we all know that if we lead with a full cup, everything around us will actually come into play a lot better. Happy mum, happy child. It's not the other way around. You can't lead with an empty cup. The happier you are, the more people that you surround yourself with, the more you're actually going to be a better example rather than living in a lack mindset. So really, when, even choose your words wisely and lead with intention rather than I've given this up to have this. And the other thing to note as well is, do you have to give something up to have something else? We can actually have whatever we want to. You just have to make an intentional choice and an action to get it. I wanted to speak here since 2022. How many times? I'm sure I've told Joyce, I'm going to speak one day as well. Look at it, But I made an intentional choice because it was a decision that I wanted to make, because I see this as one of the best events to go to on the Gold Coast. Like I said on my Instagram stories, there's coffee, champagne and food and amazing powerhouse women. Why would you not want to come? So it's really about, there are no sacrifices. It's just an intentional choice that you get to make every single day. So if you're sitting there being like, I'm living a life that is what somebody else designed for me, is you can just change that. You can just make a different decision. It's about resilience is not endurance, and the number one lesson that I want you to take with you today is self-trust. When you tap into what's in here and you live in alignment with yourself, everything will just flow in. And you know what? If people start flowing away, they're not meant to be in your life. Exactly. Bye. They say that you become the 6 people that you spend your time around. So if you're around people that are doom and gloom, they're watching the news, there's no fuel, there's no this, that's what you're going to start believing. And if, we had this conversation about the news, if you want to sit there and watch the news and what they want to feed you, rather than making up your own decision in your own mind today, that's fine. You do you, but it's just about, it's really about being intentional with your time and even leaning into your own intuition. If you get invited somewhere and you feel bad because you don't want to let somebody down, don't say yes to it. Don't commit to it. We're talking about commitment. I committed to you because I wanted to be here. But if I was just like, I'm kind of half in, half out, I actually intentionally wouldn't have said yes. Because I would be doing it to please somebody else. And I'd say probably 60 to 70% of women are people pleasers because they're worried about what other people are going to think. And then we just go back to that whole, are you living your life or are you living somebody else's life? So get used to saying no to things that don't light you up. Because at the end of the day, we have one chance. I mean, we were talking about immortality over here as well, but we chose money, right? Because, I could debate that, or I could debate that all day. But it's about, you've only got one life. So why do you want to sit here and spend it doing things to people please other people, to do what other people have told you to write the narrative for you? Why not intentionally make your decisions every single day that are feel good for you, that are aligned for you, and you get to live an incredible life that lights you up? Because when you're leading with something that lights you up, everything else makes sense. Have you ever done something you're like, I wish I didn't commit to that? Yeah? Does it actually always feel worse afterwards? Yeah. You're just like, I just pull out. Yeah, but that's fine. I have no problem with actually turning around and saying, actually, this doesn't align for me anymore. And, no, I wouldn't say it like that. I'd say it like that to certain people because they get it. The other thing is, there's so many of us that we're sitting here, we're waiting to feel ready. I hear it all the time when women want to step into their businesses or they want to grow. They're like, I need to have my ducks in a row. You probably have this when you're talking to clients as well. They're like, I'm not ready to have an amazing system that's going to change my business. Do things before you're ready. There's no such thing as feeling ready. There's no such thing as having your ducks in a row. You just get to choose. It's about being ready is actually an intentional choice. If I hadn't have been ready to start my business, I wouldn't have started it. I just took a step. I just took the aligned action because I wanted it. I wanted that freedom of lifestyle, of timing. I didn't want to work in a job where I'd say, can I take a few hours off to fly to Melbourne to see the family? And they said, no, you can't do that. I don't like being told no. And it's about having the freedom to do as you wish. But there's no such thing as being ready. It is a choice and it's a decision. And you just need to make that decision. And know whatever decision you make is going to be the right decision for you. So what I ask you today is, what is one decision that you've been waiting to make that you keep on saying you're not ready to make it? Now have a think about that for yourself. Is there a decision that you've been wanting to make, but you're just waiting for a feeling, you're waiting for a sign, you're waiting for an invitation?
Ready for the time.
That's a whole nother conversation for another day. Because the time is not going to come. And I do tell my clients all the time when they say, I don't have enough time to do this. Go and create the time. And I always like, if you want to look at people that are doing everything, look at the ones that literally, they make the time. They find the pockets of their time. A lot of people be like, I can't do that because I've got my kids, or it's the school holidays, or I can't come to an event because it's school holidays. Intentionally choose. What are you streaming on Netflix?
Streaming on Netflix.
Screaming.
Streaming.
Streaming.
Binging.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So like, again, be intentional with your time. It's like if you want the results, are you going to make the intentional decision to get the results, or are you going to fall back into old habits and sit there and stream Netflix? I have clients like, I don't have enough time. I have my kid 3 days a week. I'm like, what about the other 4? Because then they fall back and they'll be like, oh, I'm not as ahead as I'd want to be. But every decision that they have made have led to the results that they've got. So we're all responsible for our own results. So it's not somebody else's fault. And that's where as women sometimes like, I didn't get that because of that relationship, or I didn't have that because of that relationship. We're all responsible for every decision that we make. We just need to intentionally make those decisions for ourselves. Great. So, where is it? Where has it gone? It's gone. That's fun. All right. Before I leave you today, I want you to do something for me. I want you to all close down your eyes. I want you all to take a breath in. And I want you to think about your life right now. Your business, your career, your relationships, your business, I said that, your daily routine. Where does something feel off? Like you're wearing something that used to fit, but it no longer fits you. It no longer serves you. But you just keep on wearing it anyway. If you've got something, hold on to that right now. Now I want you to ask yourself something honestly. Have you known this for a while? Not thought about it for the first time today, known about it. That quiet knowing that lives somewhere underneath all of the noise, all of the busyness, and a list of reasons why you haven't made the right time. Most of us are just hearing that quiet voice that we no longer want to admit or to listen to. Either later on today or after this, write it down in your phone. And what is it? What is the answer that you need to hear for yourself to make that decision? Not the logical answer, not the safe answer either, the honest answer. Because that thing, the one thing that you've thought of just now, that's where your next level lies. That's where it lives. And the only thing standing between you and your next level is the decision that you stop talking over and changing your mind. But I'm encouraging you today to step in and listen to yourself. Listen to that decision that you need to make. Because the life that you want is not on the other side of right conditions or right time. It's on the other side of your next decision for you. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody would like.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I would have kept my eyes shut. People didn't start coming. I was in the zone. It was great. I just have a question. You obviously went from a fairly average salary to doing very well very quickly. How did your friends and family handle that? And did you lose anybody along the way?
It's a great question. I lost lots of friends. But I lost lots of friends because of the questions that they kept on asking. So a lot of them were, oh, you've kind of, surpassed your income. Can't you just be happy with that? And back then my logic was, well, I'm a solo mum. Most of my friends have a husband that they're also bringing in a second income. I'm like, at minimum, I need to bring in 2 incomes. And also, I don't want to sit still. Like, that's boring. I want to make more impact. I want to help more people. So that was kind of where most of the ones came from. And then it was very much just the conversations. The more work that I did in terms of my mindset and who I wanted to spend my time with was there were just very surface level conversations. And I'm just like, I'm done with surface level conversations. Like, I want to get to know the real person. I want to get to know what, makes them tick, what they're working on, what are their life ambitions. So I very much stopped hanging out with people that were surface level. How's your day? Great. So very much changed, we call it, as you know, changing tables. So I very much keep changing tables and keep surrounding myself with other powerhouse women that would support, but also like I want to support other women as well. Like I'm all for there's no competition. We're all here to collaborate. We're all here to, cheer everybody else on. And that's what I'm about. So yeah, very much it's, even over the last 6 years, it's changed constantly, the people that I hang around. But yeah, mainly for that. And then there's, the people that are just like, let's call them confused followers. So recently, it was about 3 or 4 months ago, I think Enemy saw it. I had an article written about me. One of my mum friends, she wrote an article and it was in news.com. So I got some good exposure and some good leads and things like that. And the ones that didn't read it, predominantly men, were like, oh, she made her money on OnlyFans. Yeah, she got rich because she got a healthy divorce. Like that would have actually been easier, but no. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey because a lot of people have a lot of not mindset problems, but beliefs around money. Like even my auntie who's only 42, we went somewhere and she's like, oh, you earn a lot of money, you can afford it. I'm like, my business earns a lot of money. I still only take one salary for one person. Plus I have a child as well. And it's just like people's perception are just like sitting here rolling around in cash. And we all know what it's like to run a business as well. You don't just sit around rolling in the revenue. Got to get the numbers right. Yeah.
It's not all champagne towels.
It's not all champagne towels, except for when we come to Lauren, except for at every Lauren's event. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on podcast today. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please remember to share it with somebody else who you think will enjoy it too. I would love it if you leave a review, which helps me reach more people just like you. And don't forget to come and join me on Instagram at empower.health. Thank you, darling.